Hi everyone, we're on lesson 4.3 and that is on page 145 in your colored math books. We're going to start with a little problem from yesterday, a review from yesterday. So 13 divided by 3 equals what? So if you remember from yesterday, I would have to draw 3 groups. And I would have to divide that 13 up. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I would end up with 4 dots in each. And I would have a remainder of 1. So the answer would be 4 remainder 1. Let's try another one. 17 divided by 5. 17 divided by 5. How many groups am I going to have under here? How many groups? 5 groups. And then I'm going to put 1 in each group until I get as close as I can to 17 without going over. And then I'm going to put my remainder down here, what I have left over. So if you count the total pink dots, I have 17 total pink dots. But I have how many in each group? I have 3 in each group. 1, 2, 3, with a remainder of 2. So my answer is 3 remainder 2. All right, that was just a quick review from yesterday. Let's start with today's lesson. Let me pull out the problem right here. Okay, Magda has some leftover wallpaper. 73 inches long. She wants to cut it into 8 pieces to use around the photos in her scrapbook. Each piece will have equal length. How long will each piece be? So let's underline some of the information that I know. I know first I'm going to underline my question so I know what I'm trying to figure out. How long will each piece be? Well, I know that I want 8 pieces, and I know that I have 73 inches. So, let's read this right here. When you solve a division problem with a remainder, the way you interpret the remainder depends on the situation and the question. So let's look at what they're trying to help us do right here. So they actually solve this problem for us. They said all they want you to do is write the remainder as a fraction. That's what they want us to do. So we know that the 73 inches divided into the 8 pieces, remember that's one way you can write it. The other way you can write it is 73 divided by 8 equals 9 with a remainder of 1. All right. So what is the divisor? How many pieces do they want? The divisor is 8 pieces. The blank is 73. What do they call that number right here or right here? The dividend. Divide to find the quotient and the remainder. So that's how they figured that out. They have done that for us. So let's move on to the next part. The remainder represents the 1 inch left over. Because if I think 9 times 8 equals 72, but I had 73, so I had 1 inch left over. 9 times 8 is 72, but I need to get to 73, so that's where that 1 inch comes from. Okay, So let's read this part again. The remainder represents the 1 inch left over, which can also be divided into 8 equal parts and written as a fraction. So what they want you to do is they want you to divide this one piece left over. Maybe she doesn't want any pieces left over. She wants to use the whole thing. So what was my remainder? My remainder was 1. What was my divisor was 8. So it's 8 over 1. Write the quotient with the remainder written as a fraction. 9 and 1/8. So if she split that whole piece up equally, she would have 9 and 1/8 pieces. So each piece would be that long, and she would have nothing left over. All right, let's try the next one. Let me get my pen. Ben is a tour guide at a glass blowing studio. I was thinking I was going to say glass bottom boat. Glass blowing studio. He can take no more than 7 people at a time on a tour. If 80 people want to see the glass blowing demonstration, how many groups of 7 people will Ben show around? So we're looking for how many groups of 7 people will Ben show around? Well, we know that there's 80 people that want to go, and the 7 people right here is the same 7 people up here. That's all he can take on a tour at once. So, first what we're going to do, use only the quotient. First, divide to find the quotient in the remainder. Then decide how to use the quotient in the remainder. So 7 is your how many people. 7 is how many people can go at one time. 80 is how many people want to go on the tour in all. 11 is how many groups he will have of that 7. So if you do 11 times 7 would equal 77. That's how many total groups he'll have, is 11 full groups with 7 people. But is that all the people that wanted to go on that tour? No, there was 80. So how many more will he have? He will have, count up until you get to 80, he'll have 3 more people. The quotient is 11, right there. The remainder is 3. That's how many he will have left over. So he'll take 11 equal groups of 7 people, and then he could maybe take 1 group of 3. Let's erase this part so you can see the next part. Ben can give tours to 7 people at a time. The quotient is the number of tours groups of exactly 7 people he can show around. So Ben gives tours to 11 groups of 7. And then maybe if he's a nice guy, he would have 1 more group of 3. I hope this helps and I hope you understand it. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.